Alright guys and girls, Mark Crossfield here. Today I'm going to talk to you about the best golf iron that you can buy at the moment. And we're going to talk all categories with my favourites plus a noticeable mention. So if you're looking for a golf iron, this should give you an idea of what the different categories are offering and where you might sit in amongst these different categories. So category number one, let's start where everyone kind of feels like they often want to be, the best bladed iron. So what's the best bladed iron you could buy right at the moment? Now let's do the noticeable mentions to kick us off. TyalorMade's Tiger Wood TW iron looks gorgeous. It's the TW iron, is a cool one to go and try. Definitely, if you're looking for blades, it's a very good looking bladed iron and something you should think about. And then my second noticeable mention would be the Srixon Z Forge. This iron looks as good as anything out there, feels pretty much as good as anything. If anything, it's got a slightly longer blade length, which might appeal to some, so it feels friendlier, but it might not appeal to the true blader, giving me my winner in my hands here. And the reason this one wins for me is the feel. Like, the sound does just feel fantastic. The audio tones, then that translates through into feel, the looks down by the ball, everything blends to make this very beautiful Mizuno MP20 iron. And it's a Mizuno bladed iron. I mean, we're talking proper history, pedigree here through the years. Remember, all these choices aren't particularly based on performance. That's something I would want you to go and test for yourself, because different clubs in different hands are going to feel and different and perform slightly different to people's personal baggages. These are my recommendations, obviously with the noticeable recommendations. Any iron that's not mentioned here doesn't perform badly in the bladed sphere. Like Titleist make great bladed irons. These are just ones that are standing out for me and the audience that I hear talking and relating to how irons feel out there in the old Twitter's world and everything else. Because performance-wise, we're going to see very, very similar performance between all in the same category. Let's just show you the numbers of the MP20. So I'm using a 7 iron. I'm averaging 170, 169 yards. It's launching near 20, which I like, and it's spinning at 5,500 revs. Outside, that's going to be 6.5 to 7,000 revs, so my 7 iron is going to be spinning around 7,000 revs. And like with any bladed club, the lofts are more true, the results, the numbers are more true to what we imagine a 7 iron can do, so they kind of relate to the number a bit more on the bottom. For me, MP20, it's a Mizuno, it's the looks absolutely fantastic. It kind of feels where I think most people want a bladed iron to feel. The second category then, and this is one that is kind of really got popular over the last few years. It's that kind of, it's trying to be a blade, but it offers help. So we could call it mid players irons, pro irons with a little bit of help, but don't matter what you call it. These clubs can be used by handicap golfers and they're used on the world tours as well. You'll be surprised how little amount of world tour players now are actually using blades. They're more in this category, believe it or not. So noticeable mentions in this category, Titleist T100 absolutely looks as good as anything out there. It's a great blend again of feel, sounds and looks. Ping I-59 is so close in this category, to be honest with you. In all the irons, Ping could almost have a winner, to be fair. And every other company really makes this iron very well. But my winner, my favourite out of testing so far, is this one. Again, it's to do with the looks. I think the looks of this club really translate into much more down near the blade end. Like, it really does make you feel like you're looking at shaping of a tour player kind of beautiful iron. Yet there is some feeling of help. And it's a TaylorMade P7MC. So we get the little bit of barring. It's got the beautiful looks and appearance, very neutral top line, not thick, certainly not too thin, but just in the right place, hardly any offset. And again, the feel of this club is just fantastic for the bracket it's in. And that's the thing, again, that does it for me, because again, with all the irons, you could go Srixon ZX7's really close in here as well. It doesn't matter what manufacturer, you could go into Cobra's version. Performance-wise, you're going to be so close. For me, the shaping, the sound, the feel of this is just on the money. I think they've done really well. And also, just the P-Series irons Really, TaylorMade and their irons back in the day were pretty average. They're now really as good as anything. So numbers wise, around 20 launch, 5,600 spin. So again, outside that's 6.5 to me to 7,000 with a 7 iron, carrying 168. You can see how close it is to the blade that we were just hitting. It does just perform absolutely blade-like, but it gives you that feeling, that feel, like it might just help you a little bit more. Love that iron. Now we're a fraction of a step up. We're going to call this, I don't know, game improvement, but we're not super game improvement. We've also got a hollow back category as well, which we can sit where we want. So noticeable mentions in this kind of bracket of iron. So we're really talking about an iron that everyone could game. Tour players to beginners to club golfers of any standard. You might choose to go with these kind of irons for a bit more help in the lower lofts, those kind of ideas. Again, the noticeable mentions in this area, Titleist T200. Another great looking iron that could just be played by so many different kinds of handicap and abilities of golfers. The Mizuno JPX Forged 921 could absolutely fill this bracket. Maybe it's the slightly chunkier side of it. But absolutely great noticeable mentions there that you could try and test. For me, my winner, this is on shaping. Medium on feel, I think you can get better feeling ones, so sound, than this. But on shaping, this does it for me all day long. It's a great combination of very good looks, but with plenty of chunk coming out the back. It's the Callaway Apex. I mean, this club has just been a stable diet for years. I think you've just got some of the most helpful barring heel-toe weighting in this club that you can get medium soles, but you get it in this real gorgeous package of a little bit of offset, medium top lines. You don't see any of the club out the back. Great blade length. And an all-round solid feeling club. Now we are starting to feel like this is more powerful. It makes that bigger sound. We feel like we're really starting to jump up. That's a line ball. Oh. Nearly. But we're kind of right in the middle bracket now, and all-rounder wise, this is gotta be one of the best out there. And the company that just constantly tries to push tech and feelings of game improvement and help while still delivering not crazy ugly irons, Callaway really are at the forefront. So we've jumped on another 10 yards. We're now up near 180 carry. You can see the spin is dropping down, so this is 6.5 to 6,000 revs outside. Launch has come down a little bit. You'll find that the peak height is probably still very much the same, and ball speeds are jumping up because we're moving into stronger lofts. So in that middle bracket, Callaway Apex, remember loft is coming off, but launch and peak heights are sustaining in theory, but if you take loft off, they do start getting harder because D-plane is a real thing. So try not to be too tricked by the power of modern irons because we're only now going to get more and more powerful. But looks-wise, feel-wise, yes, that's a great one right in the middle bracket of all your irons. Game improvement land. So irons that are now starting to get very chunky, longer blade lengths, start making bigger noises. They start to do a lot more in theory of the work than what we're putting in. We're starting to see stronger loss without a doubt. King Cobra Rad Speed, definitely worth a try. It's got quite a futuristic look, lots of design. Cobra very good at trying to really push the boundaries with design. Absolute tester in the noticeable mentions in game improvement world. Titleist T300, we start again getting lots of help, but still delivered in a chromed, nice looking package. Titleist very good at making their irons look desirable. Performance always as good as anything out there. But my winner, and hard to beat in this department, the company that kind of built itself on this kind of style of iron, it's Ping. It has to be Ping. Like no one does this club, I think, much better than them. So the G425 from Ping, we got undercut cavity, loads of weight coming off the face that will give you a little bit more help when the strikes start deviating away from the center like they do for all of us. Mid to thicker sole, obviously getting way thicker in the toe with a little bit of help in the weighting. It's a gorgeous looking club too though. It's not too crazy ugly, and that's where we cross over in this kind of category of club. Often we can start to get overstated on the ugliness just so it has the shop appeal almost on the shop floor. I always think colorways, massive kind of statement circles and bits sticking out, where the G425 just looks like a classic Ping. but it's pushing their game improvement model through design to the maximum. Obviously with this club we're getting, like I said, we're getting sounds that are loud. You know, that's making a crack, it's making a ping like they all do. It makes it feel like it's coming off fast. I can see the distance it's like going, because again the lofts will be cranked, but the lofts are cranked because the ball shoots up in the air more in theory, so they're just trying to balance that out. So 182 carry, again we're pushing on, we're 4-6 spin, so the spin is retaining quite well for the kind of club it is. The launch is coming down and the ball speed's again getting stronger. This isn't miles away from where the Apex was. They're very similar in brackets. If anything, this is just a bigger statement in game improvement. They're solid numbers for what they're doing, but basically the 7 is performing like my 6. And that will be the common pattern as you start going into these more what we call game improvement clubs. So let's go super game improvement. So super game improvement, we're now really moving into the realms of, we're not talking looks, we're talking whatever we can do to make your average shots, or even my average shots, do more. And noticeable members in this category, there's a few. You've got Callaway Rogue ST Max, chunky, massive weight off the back. It's like super game improvement. It's again, it's not trying to fill briefs of looking fantastic. It won't compete against ones that look fantastic. It's just trying to give you every last bit of help you can get. But my winner, and an iron I've played, and someone I think who've been making this iron for ages, now more people are trying to get here, it's the Cleveland Launcher XL Halo. So basically, look at it, it's a hybrid. It's a hybrid iron set, and you do see the iron out the back. It's chunky, it's huge. It delivers ideas of very friendly. It makes the noise of a hollow-bodied hybrid kind of club. It's doing everything it can to try and push that ball up in the air and push it long. Obviously, the lofts get strong as well. We're in that category still. And it's this kind of iron I think lots of people, or certainly this bracket of iron, I think lots of people could do a lot better testing. There's lots of desirability down there, but functionality when you get up here, possibly for lots of golfers, certainly when you start taking loft off the club, might just help them more than they think. Because it's not trying to be a tour iron, is it? Look at it. I mean, it's doing everything it can to be the opposite. So we're now up to 186, standard deviation of 5, like some of these are carrying 190 again. It's a 7 iron. The spin is sustaining. It's not dropping crazy low. So outside that's 6.5, 6,000 with a strong 7. So that's what's noticeable with these, but the ball speed does just jump up. And if you get things higher on the face, because the weight is so packed at the bottom, you can start to get low spin bombers, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But for how brutal this club is, I'm always amazed how well the spin sustains on this club. And that leaves us one more category. Let's talk hollow body irons. I can't stop hitting this because it is just fun, this Halo. Boom. So what is a hollow body iron? A hollow body iron basically could fit into game improvement, it can fit into players' irons, and it can fit in between. So it does fit in all those gaps we've seen, but it's become its own category. And I've got two here that I can't choose between. I played a Srixon ZX Force. Like, I play this club. It would be crazy for me not to include it in my choice because I play it. It's the club I like playing. It's chunky. This is my 7 iron. Look, it's chunky. You don't see particularly much club with anything out the back. Medium top line, not huge amounts of offset. And in the bag, players don't realize they're not blades. They look like blades. And that's something that I think sells these quite well. So I'm getting loads of help. They're strong lofted, but they look playable. And we're comparing that one up because I think this one just is so hard to beat in this category. Ping I525. The reason this one probably wins, I think, for lots of people is it's got the help of a cavity-backed or hollow-bodied iron, but you are getting slimmer looks. You are getting it hidden much more what appeals maybe into a player's iron. So I think if you want your club to look playerish, but you want help, this one's going to be hard to beat. But for some golfers, I do wonder if you are after a bit of help in the hollow body world, that it's just going to look a little bit too slim. This club though, Ping I525, does look, sound, feel fantastic. Like, it's really good. I think I mean, and again, the reason I've chosen these two, my iron, so the ZX4 is going to appeal to people who want to look at something a little bit more helpful. The Ping, I think, is doing the same, but appealing to people who want it to look more classic. The Ping definitely feels solid. It's not the craziest loud as well. It barely feels like a hollow body, to be fair. It's like a very well concealed, friendly iron. It does just feel pretty solid. If we compare that up to my Srixon ZX4, which I do really like the look of, I like that in between both kind of blade and chunky. Yeah, it feels very similar actually. There's not much in the feel of that. They both feel solid. If anything, this one feels a little bit more hollow body, but not really much. It's got a forged face, which does take that sound down a little bit. You are going to notice it so much predominantly in the gaming position looks, more than you are actually in any of the data, because I think you're going to find they're very, very close. So very similar results. You can see the spin a little bit higher in the in the Srixon, but standard deviations are getting those really close to overlapping. I'd need to hit a lot of shots, and I think you'd find they would settle very similar. I would say that the ball speed's a little higher with my Srixon, because I just struck it a little bit on that batch. Really, you know, 3 yards with the standard deviation overlapping. You can see the two circles here. That you're not going to see an advantage really over those two. Numbers-wise, they're very, very close. So there's a brief overview of every iron with noticeable mentions. Maybe in the comments let me know ones I've missed out or not. But if you're looking for a set of irons in 2022 and 2023, because I think they'll overlap some of these, you ain't going to go very far wrong with some of those picks. Let me know what's in your bag and why. And obviously with any of these, remember, you could be blending. Like I would be going, I've got hybrids and stop at a 6 iron, that kind of idea, and go more bladey in a wedge. So there's the blending option in here as well. Thanks for watching as always. We'll catch you in the next video.